Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's question and answer session on failing to stay sober. Today's question is about I've tried to do this so many times and I just keep failing. I just don't believe that I can do this. And I've had the same question in from Nicole in London in the UK and from Pete in Massachusetts in the States. Now, Nicole, I believe, has tried going to AA, to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and they haven't worked for her. And Pete, I believe, has just tried doing this on his own with no outside support at all. So I'm going to give my answer to this question in 3 parts. And the first part is, whether you believe you can do this or whether you believe you can't do this, you're probably right. In other words, the belief that you hold about your abilities or capabilities is the reality you're going to create. In other words, if you believe that you can't do this, you're probably right. You won't be able to do it because that's the reality you're creating. If, on the other hand, you believe that this is just a step along the way to being successfully sober, you just need to put in some more practice before you're successfully sober, then you're much more likely to create a successful sober reality, a successful sober future. And if you're aware of a belief that you just don't think you can do this or this just isn't possible for you, then it's possible to change that belief into something more helpful. I think it's in module 5 of the Go Get Sober program. We actually share some specific techniques with you on how to shift an unhelpful belief into a much more helpful one to make it more likely that you can succeed. But there are other things you can do as well. You can actually change your approach to this experience. You can change the language you use about your experience of slipping back to drinking again, so that it's much more positive, so that you're more likely to get up, dust yourself down and get back on track again. And part 2 of my answer to this question is a bit of an example. Imagine that each time you slip back to drinking again, to reaching for alcohol, that instead of seeing it as a sign that you've failed and you just can't do this, notice what happens when you see it as a sign that you're maybe just not quite ready yet. And maybe you need to do some more practice before you become successfully sober. Maybe it's just another step you've got to take on the way to your success. And the third part to my question is that Nicole's tried AA, Pete's tried doing it on his own. Now, different approaches are going to work for different people. I know lots of people who found that AA has worked really, really well for them and it's helping keep them successfully sober. And I know lots and lots of other people who find that it just hasn't worked for them for all sorts of reasons. And I know lots of people who've managed to do it completely on their own without any kind of outside support at all. And I know other people who've needed a bit of outside encouragement and support. The point is that different approaches work for different people, and maybe you just haven't found the right approach yet. So the best thing to do is to do some research online and find out what's out there, what different programs are available, what kind of support is available. I do recommend that the more outside help you get, the more that you can feel part of a supportive community, whether that's face-to-face like with AA or whether it's an online support forum like the Go Get Sober forum. It doesn't really matter, but I do encourage you to seek some kind of outside support because the journey into sobriety is so much easier when you've got support from a non-judgmental, open-minded and understanding community. And remember that every single one of us who is now living life happily and easily sober was once in that situation of trying to give up and slipping back to drinking again, trying to give up again and slipping back to drinking again. Most of us who are living life successfully sober have tried many, many times to give up drinking before we actually got to the point of succeeding. And if that's possible for us, then it's also possible for you too. If you want more information, support, encouragement and inspiration to stop drinking and stay happily sober, then subscribe to my channel. I'll look forward to catching up with you very soon. But in the meantime, let's go get sober together.